You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drakewing Gaming, and 70 Mounts Word of the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of Conway. I almost forgot for a second, I don't know why. I got a lot of things on my mind. One of the things that I'm thinking about is that I am going to be cycling between Conway and Moontouched. So that way it'll bring you, we'll be cycling between these. So that way we'll keep it a little bit fresh. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. I was hoping for something less wet. Stop being such a cat. Or do you see him complaining? He nods to Wolf, who is standing nearby, seemingly unaffected by the rain pouring down on him. Besides, the storm is already getting weaker. You look up into the clouds, but it appears the same to you. It's still a downpour with a distant rumble of thunder somewhere up there in the thick of it. It doesn't count. He just never talks. I've been through worse. That doesn't count either. We simply just witnessed a miracle. Wolf narrows his eyes and returns nothing but a snarl. It's just water. Are you afraid of dissolving? No, only of being thrown overboard. You run your paw down the length of the line, looking and feeling for any wear it might have sustained. This line seems tight. I can't see any frame. Being thrown overboard by the ship or by him? Both? This one looks good, too. I'll catch you by the tail if that happens. James, you can crawl under and see if the boat has slipped from... James, can you crawl under and see if the boat has slipped from its anchor points? You comply and slide beneath the jolly boat. Immediately you're surrounded by the echoing drum of raindrops beating on the wooden hull above you. Everything appears secure. You give it a quick tug to be sure, before emerging back into the open. Their voices, momentarily hollow-sounding, regain their clarity. And... Samuel's voice cuts through the steady patter of rain, his eyes following you as you emerge from under the boat. Looks perfect. Didn't budge an inch. Sweet. So the jolly boat didn't get knocked loose. Let's check the other one. The three of you loop around the other side of the ship to inspect the other boat. The lines are all in place, no signs of wear visible to you as you run your paw along them. Just as on the other side, you slip underneath the boat to see if it is firmly sitting in its anchor points. Before you can inspect it further, Samuel's hand lands on your shoulder to interrupt you. He has joined you underneath the boat and gently pushes you aside. Actually, let me check. This one broke a while ago, so we tied it to this pin back here. Wolf, can you come down here? Then I won't have to explain it twice. Wolf readily ducks under the boat to be able to watch Samuel's instructions. Samuel reaches to the back of the boat, his fingers probing blindly. He guides your hand there when he's found it, a thick bundle of rope securing the boat to one of the pins. What's broken about it? The pin here that they tied to it is broken. It snapped a few months ago. Low priority, I suppose. Conrad hasn't gotten to it yet. It mentioned he'd have to replace the whole thing. Fingernail. Anyway, you always want to check the ropes back here and feel if they're still tight. After he shows you, he also guides Wolf's paw to the back of the boat to ensure you both are aware of it for future inspections. Looks like it's all in order, though. Nothing wrong with the lines you checked either. Nothing wrong with the lines you checked either? Everything looks fine. This one looks like it's starting to fray a little, but I assume it's not a problem yet. You'd better check it yourself just in case, Sam. You emerge from the boat, dropping to your knees to crawl out from underneath it, only to have a stray wave throw you off balance for a moment. Slowly rising back to your paws, you find Samuel and Wolf busy checking the other line. If only we could do the whole inspection under one of these, you mutter, glancing back at the upturned boat. It's certainly drier than out here. But only until the next wave sends a load of spray across the deck. Still better than getting drenched from the rain and the spray. A bit too huddled up for my taste. He squints at the upturned boat, water dripping from his snout. What? I would have thought it would be perfect for you. It might, but with you two underneath, then it becomes a harder sell. Maybe in the future they'll build ships with their whole deck covered. Wouldn't that be a luxury? Never again the smell of wet fur. Blech. Crossing his arms on the jolly boat, Samuel grimaces as the countless memories that come flooding back to the lower deck crammed with soggy crew members. I've had worse. What? No, you haven't. Not worse than what this place is going to smell like in about another hour or two, once it permeates everything. I stand by what I said. And you will tell us about it? Absolutely not. can't just bring it up and not expect us to be curious. You can be curious all you want, but these lips will remain sealed. Samuel lets his arms glide off the boat, fingers deftly untying and retying a knot around a belaying pins that must have looked too hastily made. You do know we'll just make up our own story if you don't tell us yours. The maned wolf earns a long exhale in response. It was nothing, just some work in the stables. The animals can reek in there. That doesn't sound very convincing. Who would call working the stables a story, let alone try to keep it quiet? He would. It probably was something like... Remain silent, her fingers tracing the coarse fibers of the rope that hold the boat in place. I'm blanking. But something valiant. I mean, look at him and tell me you don't expect him to emerge silently from the shadows. Maybe he is a royal spy and had to crawl through the castle's fetid sewers to reach his target. Scaling the castle walls under the moon's watchful eye, not above getting his paws dirty to make his king proud. He emerges, sword drawn from its scabbard, whispering for king and country in their ears. He sinks the weapon into their chest, before disappearing without a trace into the blackness of the night. Thinking, y'all, water time. Alright, guys and gals, and we are back. Let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alright. You really get caught up in the fantasy and imitate a few swings with a sword, a stab, a slice, and a skillful dodge. Or, rather, what you assume skillful swordplay to look like. Oh, that's a good one. What do you say, Wolf? Hot or cold? His answer is predictably deadpan. Cold. The truth is often boring, and working in the stables is about as boring as it gets. No better or worse than what we're doing. In fact, I'd be surprised if we didn't pick up a few of them in Morocco. We might find ourselves shoveling shit soon enough. Looking forward to it. Does that at least mean we'll get a share? I wouldn't mind maybe a little milk or an omelet now and then. He laughs and reaches over to playfully tap your shoulder. My man, that's the life of a landsman. All the work, none of the benefit. Most of it goes to the officers. You slump your shoulders. Whatever the case, these lines look to be in good order to me, Sam. You meticulously inspect each knot for any damage it might have sustained during the storm. You steady yourself against the gunwale. The gunwale with one hand as your group makes its way to the bow of the ship. Bit by bit, you move along the length of the vessel, inspecting one line after another. Fortunately, nothing requires immediate attention. If you'd like to do more after this, I might have something simple. Oh? What will I get during it? The maned wolf lets his eyes wander down your body. Would it really matter at this point? But no, that'll be the best part. You'll get to stay dry. Or at least as dry as you can be when you get back in. Well, if that's the case, then spit it out already. Regia needs some help. I asked her if you could take over for me. Usually I'll help her out before I port a call. Sam, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm not a trained surgeon. Am I? No. Well, there you go. All you need to do is help her maintain her instruments. No expertise required. Just 2 working hands, and last I checked, you do have those. Usually I use it as an opportunity to catch up with her, and maybe make some plans for when we get back on solid ground. This time I think you could make better use of it. Just don't do it too well, or she won't want me back, he says with a bright laugh, and a playful slap lands on your shoulder. You smile back, forced at first, but after a moment you manage a genuine one. Thanks, Sam. When do I get to meet her? What do you mean when? Right now, off you go. I told her you'd stop by after we've done it here. A few knocks on her door and it swings open. The cheetah greets you with a hint of surprise across her features before her memory of the previous arrangement must have returned. You know, coffee time. Hey, Regia. Samuel sent me. Mentioned you need an extra pair of hands? Oh, of course, James. Sorry, I'm just so used to Sam coming over for this that even though he told me earlier, it still took me by surprise. Yes, please come in. As you step into the doctor's cabin, she moves back to make room for you. The door closes behind you, muffling the sounds of the ship's deck. Brushing past you and kneeling down, Regia opens the lock on one of the cabinets. An array of vials, pouches, boxes, and medical supplies greet your eyes, and among them a few items that would look more at home in a carpenter's toolbox. I assume Samuel has told you what we'll be doing. Whenever we're approaching a port of call, I usually take an inventory of what might need to be restocked, along with the general maintenance and cleaning of everything. A little spring cleaning, you might call it, she adds with a smile. Are you sure you don't need someone who knows what they're doing? Oh, don't worry, all you need to do is clean some equipment. As long as you can follow instructions, you'll be just fine. Besides, it's a ship. Outside of my mate, I don't exactly have a swath of people with medical knowledge around me. Even less people of low enough rank who could be persuaded to do something like cleaning my tools. You learn to make do with what's available. And in this case, that's you. What's available? I didn't realize I was so highly valued. She laughs and rubs the side of her neck. My apologies, I didn't mean to make it sound like I view you as a mere stale leftover. I do appreciate your company, and I have no doubt you'll do a fine job. And the mate isn't around? Well, the questions. It sounds almost like you don't even want to be here. Oh, it's not that. I'm just curious why it's usually Samuel who helps you. Is it not reason enough for us to spend time together? It has become a bit of a ritual over time. As she speaks, Regia prepares a bowl on the table. She opens a bottle and empties the contents into it, and with it you pick up the scent of vinegar filling the air. But no, the mate is busy reporting to the captain and making the rounds to address any sanitary concerns anywhere on the ship. The bilge reeks. Another laugh escapes her. Wait, you're saying it's possible that it doesn't? Sorry, James, but I'm just a surgeon. I don't deal in miracles. Don't sleep down there and you'll be alright. But why don't we get started? Once you are set up and the bottle of vinegar is stowed away, she gestures toward the cabinet. Your task is very simple. I'm going to hand you a tool and you're going to scrub it well with the vinegar in the bowl here. Then leave it to soak. Make sure you scrub it well without breaking it, of course. I think I could have just about figured out the part about not breaking them on my own. She continues unabated and rests her palm on a set of 2 leather bags sitting on the cabinet. These 2 contain more tools. Basically, anything that is small enough to not be stored in the cabinets, and everything in there needs the same treatment. Scrub and soak everything in vinegar. Sounds easy enough. Regia hands you a pair of metal bowls, and you go to the table and start cleaning them with the small sponge that's in the bowl. Do you need me to help with taking inventory as well? No, just focus on cleaning. And you do this before every port we enter? She nods and grabs the first bottle from the cupboard, checking its contents and making some notes on a cloth-bound notebook. It's best to keep abreast of it whenever I have the opportunity. So I try to stock up whenever possible. And Mogador is the principal port in the region, and they'll have most of what I need. You keep scrubbing the bowls, trying to keep the vinegar off the paper strewn all over the desk. A task easier said than done, and you occasionally lift the bowl to keep the rocking of the ship over the stormy waves from spilling it. You must be starting to feel excitement now that you're just a few days away from your home. She doesn't look up from the piece of paper she's filling out before reaching for her neck for the next bottle. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't looking forward to some of it. Famed run down the beach? I'll take any route, beach or no beach, but it would be nice to do it by the water. Ideally with a nice summer breeze to cool me down. Or just not be a scorching day, I'll take either. If I get my wish, that is a different matter entirely at this time of year. Briefly, Regia pulls the cork from the bottle she's inspecting before plugging it again and returning it to the cabinet. You glance at the bottle, though, unable to read the label from where you are. Is that vanilla? Good knows. It doesn't actually have any medicinal value itself, but something dealing with your sailors is like dealing with stubborn children. Correction, it's almost always like dealing with stubborn children. And suddenly it's almost impossible to take the medicine if it isn't palatable. You wouldn't happen to be able to spare some for Brandil? I'm afraid not. It wouldn't last a day if you got your paws on it. Why did you want to help anyway? The desire to be helpful isn't a sufficient answer, I assume? No, I've been around sailors long enough. Are you ducking out from something worse? Alright, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to give a quick shout-out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank y'all for all I do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Kate Silver, and thank you going above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks to our 2 gold tier patrons, Zeke and Toby. Y'all are awesome. We love you. Thank you for subbing to Ultimate Tier. Anyway, if y'all want to get your names in the credits, get access to all of our Not Safe for Work contents as little as $5. Alrighty, I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!